You ever hear something that just sends shivers down your spine? This thing that happened to me, it's real. Never in a million years thought putting up a paying guest could turn into this. My name is Sarah. We live in this big family house out in Oakwood, but I have a small apartment building in Denver. Got 2 units I rent out, just for some extra income, you know? This all went down a little over a year ago, early 2022. I had these 2 guys renting the units. They were fine, paid on time, no drama. Then just out of nowhere, one of them calls me up and says they're moving out, like packing up and gone tomorrow. I was kinda surprised. What? What happened? Is everything okay? They were like, yeah, totally fine. We just found a place that's way cheaper, like half price. It didn't quite add up. These guys were from good families, drove their own cars, never had issues with rent or anything. Changing places just for cheaper rent? Seemed off. But hey, it's their call. I just said, all right, fine. Leave the keys with someone. After they moved out, I listed the apartment online again, looking for a new tenant. Fast forward about a month, maybe early February. I got a message from a girl named Ashley. She asked if the unit was available. Yep, it was empty. She said she wanted to rent it. We talked about the rent and stuff, and she took it. Ashley seemed really nice from her messages. Super friendly and open. She was a student, doing pharmacy at a college in Denver, not too far from my place. Talking to her felt easy, like meeting a new friend. I thought, great, finally a good tenant. Our conversations were totally normal and friendly right up until she actually moved into the unit, the same one those guys had just left. But as soon as she moved in, she just changed. She barely talked to me anymore. She'd give short answers if I asked something, but ever initiated conversation. I figured maybe she was just quiet or settling in. Then we had this big family wedding coming up at our main house in Oakwood. It was starting around mid-March, the main ceremony a week later. I invited all my friends and even my paying guests. I told Ashley, hey, come on down. We're having a big family wedding, like 5 days of events. It'll be fun. She sounded pretty excited about it. I was kinda curious to meet her in person too, see what she was really like. Around March 15th, people started arriving at the house. Family, relatives, my friends. It was getting crowded. You know how wedding houses get, full of energy. My girlfriends showed up, and immediately it was music, dancing, chatting nonstop. Ashley arrived a couple of days later. Seeing her in person, wow. She was pretty, yeah, but the most striking thing was her hair. It was unreal. Black, thick, and so long it almost touched her ankles. When she walked around with it loose, it felt like something out of a fairy tale. At the parties, Ashley was there. She was quiet, didn't mingle much, mostly kept to herself. But the really weird thing? Every single night, around 9 or 10 p.m., she'd just vanish. Like, poof. Couldn't find her anywhere in the house. I initially thought maybe she just went to call her family or needed some alone time, so I didn't think too much of it at first. On March 17th, we had a big Mendi ceremony. Everyone was dressed up. Ashley was too. And with her hair, she was the absolute center of attention. Seriously, that hair. I'd never seen anything like it. Everyone was complimenting her, gathered around her, touching it. She seemed happy about the attention. My Aunt Carol, the sweetest lady, came up to Ashley, completely amazed by her hair. "Oh, darling, your hair is just gorgeous," she said, and gently reached out and touched it. And that's when it happened. Ashley whipped her head around and stared at Aunt Carol. Her eyes, oh my God, they were filled with this cold, ancient rage, like she wanted to eat her alive. The look in her eyes just screamed, "How dare you touch me?" Aunt Carol was completely taken aback. Just then, her phone rang and she walked away talking. Ashley's face went back to normal. She relaxed her hair. A little later, my 2 little cousins, just playing around, saw Ashley's hair again. Kids, right? Curious. They ran up and grabbed a bit of her hair, laughing. "Ashley, your hair is so soft." And this time, Ashley completely snapped. She lunged at the little girl, grabbing her face and slapping her, hard. Again and again. The kids started screaming and crying. We all rushed over and pulled Ashley away. Her fingernails were long, and she'd scratched the poor kid's cheek, drawing blood. We got the kids away. I looked at Ashley, stunned. "What is wrong with you? She's a little kid. She just touched your hair. You can't hit her. Like that." The kids' parents were furious. We tried to calm everyone down, but Ashley just stood there, looking detached. She mumbled something about them touching her hair. A little while later, without a word, she just walked off. We thought maybe she went to her room, but then she came back downstairs. She'd gone and washed her hair and come back to the party. Who does that after hitting a child? Something was seriously wrong. It wasn't normal. Nothing about that was normal. We decided we'd talk to her properly once the wedding was over. That night was the worst. After the main wedding events were done, all of us girls were hanging out late on the third floor talking. It was past 1 a.m. Suddenly, I realized Ashley was missing. Again. Vanished into thin air. That's it, I thought. I'm finding out where she goes. I started searching. Checked the third floor, the second, the first, the courtyard. Nowhere. I was walking through the courtyard, looking around, and I happened to glance up. On our roof, there's this raised platform where we keep the water tanks, maybe 10 by 10 feet. And standing right there, on the water tank platform, was Ashley. Her impossibly long hair was blowing slightly in the night breeze. She was standing there, looking up at the moon and calmly combing her hair. I knew it was her just by the hair, but standing up there, alone, combing her hair at 1 a.m., it was so bizarre. Still, I decided I had to go talk to her. I went up to the roof and started climbing the metal ladder to the water tank platform. It was steep. As I got closer, my eyes just clearing the edge of the platform, I saw her feet. They were pointed, right at me. I thought, okay, she heard me, she knows I'm here, she's turned around. But as I pulled myself up higher to see her face, my blood ran cold. My heart stopped. Only her feet were facing me. Her face was still pointed up at the moon. She was just standing there combing her hair, completely unaware I was only feet away. It didn't make any sense. It looked wrong. I froze. I almost fell back down the ladder in sheer terror. I managed to keep quiet, somehow scrambled back down, and ran, absolutely sprinted to the third floor where my friend Chloe was. I grabbed her, shaking, and dragged her to the window that overlooked the roof. "Look, Chloe, look! Up there! See who's standing there!" Yeah. Ashley was still there, standing in the exact same spot, her long hair flowing, looking at the moon, combing her hair. After that, I felt instantly sick. I had a spiking fever. I was shaking uncontrollably and needed glucose. We didn't tell anyone right away. It was the wedding, chaos everywhere. And honestly, we weren't sure we hadn't just imagined it, even though we both saw it. We were in shock. The next morning, Ashley was acting totally normal again. She talked to me like nothing happened, but I kept watching her. She seemed fine, but her hair, even when there was no wind, it would sort of ripple and move on its own. It was just creepy. My mom came to check my fever, and when she saw how high it was, she got really worried. So I finally told her everything about Ashley's behavior, finding her on the roof, the whole thing. Mom was listening, but then someone called her and she had to leave. I don't think she fully believed me right then. After Mom left, I closed the door and sat there, trying to figure things out. Then it hit me. I needed to check Ashley's bag. Maybe there was something in there. Gathering all my courage, I went back to the apartment. Ashley's door was unlocked. I found her bag, unzipped it, and started searching. My hand hit a red plastic bag inside. Just as I reached for it, there was this sudden, loud crashing sound from outside the apartment. Made me jump out of my skin. It felt like something didn't want me looking in that bag. I pulled the red bag out and opened it. Inside was a bundle of hair. White hair. Like an old woman's hair. I kept searching the bag. I found a bunch of other weird stuff. A container of black kajal liner, a pair of scissors, maybe 10 or 15 bottles of perfume, lipstick, and a small container of red vermilion powder. Seeing all that, I knew. Whatever Ashley was, she wasn't just Ashley. I quickly took videos of everything, put it all back, and sent the videos to my Uncle Bob, who's the one in the family who knows how to handle sensitive things. Uncle Bob didn't waste any time. He showed up at the Oakwood house with 4 or 5 spiritual specialists. It happened when the family was all gathered together. Ashley was there too. As soon as she saw the specialists, she took off like a shot, like a thief running from the cops. She ran to a room and locked herself in. The specialists got to work. The head guy stayed outside, starting some ritual chanting. 2 tied sacred threads on everyone's wrists. The other 2 went to get Ashley. They managed to get her out of the room. They had a cloth over her mouth, but she was thrashing and screaming in this unearthly voice. "Let me go! Let me go!" It didn't sound human. They brought her to the front, near where they'd set up a ritual fire. Someone held her hair, and they started cutting it off with the scissors I'd seen in her bag. And the screams when they cut her hair. It was bone-chilling. The most horrifying sound I've ever heard. It made everyone's blood run cold. They cut off all her hair and threw it into the ritual fire. As it burned, Ashley collapsed, unconscious. The specialists took her away after that. We never knew what happened to her, or who or what she really was. The specialists didn't say much. We were all in shock for a while. The wedding somehow finished. Ashley's bag was still at the Denver apartment. We just threw it away. And that unit? We closed it off. Don't rent it out anymore. Even now, sometimes I think I can still smell something burning near that room in Denver, like paper or hair. My Aunt Carol later said maybe she was under some dark magic or possessed by some old spirit. Whatever it was terrifying. My paying guest wasn't just a girl named Ashley. There was something else in that room. I'll never forget it.